ring light. Ooh. I do have the green screen, by the way. I just don't have another tripod. Somehow getting the light, which came with a tripod, led to me needing a third tripod. I got one more tripod and I have one less tripod than I need. I don't know how that happened. How's that? Hello again everyone, welcome back. This time round we are going to continue our discussion from last week about quests, and we're going to take a look at the role of the quest giver. Now let me start by clarifying what I mean by that. The quest giver is generally thought of as that NPC with the little floating exclamation mark above their head that you can talk to in order to initiate a quest. Usually this comes in the form of a shopkeeper that waves the party over to talk to them about a problem that they're having, or a distressed traveller by the side of the road who says that their friend has gone missing, or perhaps an old mysterious crone who delivers a prophecy to the party. But that is only part of what I mean when I say quest giver. Sometimes the quest giver is a character in your story, sometimes exactly the way I've just described them, but sometimes the character doesn't know that they're a quest giver. Sometimes they don't realize that your party is able to solve the problem they have. Sometimes they don't even know they have a problem that needs to be solved. Sometimes the quest giver is an event that precipitates the party to take some kind of action, giving them a task to perform without any care or notice of the party's presence at all. A sandstorm could roll in and make it difficult for you to find your camp again. Maybe on a caving expedition there's a flood which forces you to then have to find your way out again as quickly as possible. Sometimes, as I mentioned briefly in my last video, the party themselves can be the quest givers. A particular member of the group may have a goal they wish to accomplish, or a rival that they encounter, or an enemy that they want to defeat. But importantly, the quest giver in almost every scenario comes from the architect of the story, the GM. So let's have a look at the important elements that make up the role of the quest giver. Here at HithertoBrew, we take any chance we get to reference The Lord of the Rings, and as it happens, those stories provide excellent examples of different types of quest givers in action, particularly in Fellowship. If I was to get you to create a list of all of the quest givers that are in The Lord of the Rings, I'm sure you'd get a lot of them. Particularly obvious is Elrond. He is, after all, the one who assembles the Fellowship, the quintessential adventuring party, and sends them off on their perilous journey to Mordor. But there are several others worth looking at first. Bilbo Baggins has already been on his own adventure, of course, and there's plenty that we could talk about there, maybe another time. But the important takeaway from that is that on that journey he acquired the One Ring. Now, as far as I know, and I am not a Tolkien scholar, he never actually finds out that the ring he carried for so many years is in fact an instrument of ultimate evil crafted by Sauron. He could have quite happily held onto it and gone off on his final adventure, leaving Frodo and the rest of the hobbits in all likelihood to be massacred by Nazgul. Thankfully, Gandalf makes sure he leaves the ring behind. Bilbo drops the ring on the floor of Bag End, and with that simple act, the quest is given. Unbeknownst to him, Bilbo has now given a dangerous and life-altering quest to Gandalf and to his nephew Frodo. Gandalf of course clocks that this ring is a lot spookier than he thought at first pretty quickly, and goes off on his quest to find more answers about it in Minas Tirith. Also of course giving Frodo a quest to keep it secret. This sets off the sequence of events that leads to the whole of Middle-earth once again battling against Sauron. Meanwhile, Bilbo's merrily strolling along on his way to Rivendell, totally unaware of the trouble he's caused, apart from maybe feeling a little bit more run down and tired over the last few days than he has done in a while. Gandalf is our next quest giver, and he's one of the classic archetypes that you're most likely to come across in other media. The mentor or trusted advisor appears all over the place in our popular stories. Dumbledore, Charles Xavier, Morpheus, Star Wars is full of them, Ben Kenobi, Yoda, that other guy, I guess. Gandalf in The Lord of the Rings very clearly and concisely gives Frodo a quest in much the same way as you might receive a quest in a video game or a session of D&D. Go to the Inn of the Prancing Pony in Bree, I will meet you there. He also performs another key role of the quest giver, which is to give us some exposition. He tells Frodo about the ring and Sauron and all of that, and because he is a trusted mentor type character, Frodo takes his word as gospel. He believes him. Again, going back to something I mentioned in my last video, this gives Frodo his reason to act. It answers the question of why. Why? He must do as Gandalf says and meet him because he's in imminent danger if he stays, and Gandalf is probably the only person who can help him. And Sam, of course. when the Witch King stabs Frodo on Weathertop and is then inexplicably chased off by one guy with a torch. This initiates another quest. A thing has happened that was out of our control, and now we need to find a way to stop or slow this poison. Sam gets some King's Foil, we need Elvish medicine, so we're going to Rivendell. And there's our quest. In this case, someone else shows up and completes the quest for us, but it still counts.
The ring must be destroyed.
At last we arrive at Elrond. Elrond also occupies a position of authority. That isn't always a factor, but it can be an important element in a quest giver's effectiveness. He calls together the disparate pieces of what will ultimately form our adventuring party, and he follows a similar process as we just observed from Gandalf. First, he answers the question of why.
Why?
Why are you all here? Why is this important? All of that is answered very, very quickly. Hi everyone, this is the One Ring. If it falls into Sauron's hands, we're all doomed, so it needs to be destroyed. There's some useful exposition that happens, some setting up of characters' bonds and flaws, etc. Can we just bash it with an axe? Will that work? Guess not. Sorry. Yeah. Gonna have to go to Mordor. So the party are assembled and they have their quest to go to Mordor and cast the ring back into the fiery chasm from whence it came. Gandalf again fulfills his role as the mentor type quest giver and provides guidance and leads the way and helps to direct them on that quest. He also provides Frodo with a choice to continue travelling over the mountains or to head down into the mines of Moria. The choice is also a minor type of quest giver. By narrowing down a party's options to just one or two that they must then choose from, it sets them on a path towards some kind of outcome and provides the necessary components for a quest that we discussed last time. I'm going to very quickly run through a couple of other examples of quest givers that are in just the first film. The prophetic quest giver, which sets up something that might occur later if we do or don't take a certain action. We've got Aragorn's discussion about being the heir of Isildur with Arwen, and Galadriel's mirror, the emergent threat, and suddenly a Balrog. Deal with that. Revenge, justice, or redemption. You can kind of see how Boromir goes on a bit of a quest for redemption. It's very short-lived. F's in the chat for Boromir. Personal safety or rescue of others. This doubles up with Boromir. He throws himself into danger to protect Merry and Pippin. Merry and Pippin then get captured, and Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli then go on a quest to rescue them. The looming presence. This is a sort of drawn out emergent threat. You know that something's coming, you know that something bad will happen if you don't do something to stop it. And throughout the first film, we get reminders of the stakes through the little flashes of Sauron's eye and through Frodo's interactions with the ring. So why did we do that? Is that all the types of quest givers? I don't know, probably not. I made most of them up. But even so, they will serve us to illustrate the point of all of this, which is that I believe there are three core elements of just about every type of quest giver, which you can use to make sure you hook your party early and keep them on track towards completing quests in your games. It took us a while, but we got there. So here they are, no more build up, hold on to your hats. The reward, the goal, and the obstacle. Three things, couldn't remember them, had to check my notes. Man. Reward, obstacle, goal. Got it. First, we've got the reward, the most important element. This is where you're going to focus on answering the question of why.
Why?
Although I've called it the reward, this doesn't have to come in the form of something valuable that the party will get if they complete the quest. The reward could just as easily be renown in a certain area of your setting for your game, or the removal of a threat to everyone's health and happiness. Then we've got the goal, slightly less important, but still important. This is where you want to answer questions like, what will result in the completion of this quest? How do we win the game? How do we triumph over evil? Whenever it's possible, your quest giver should make these things clear to your party in your games. The obstacle, this is the final element and it is the least important one. This is where you want to answer questions like, what will stop the party from succeeding? Why would a simpler solution not work? What dangers are we likely to face on our journey? The quest giver may not actually have the answer to all of these questions, but you as the GM should at least have an idea. It's generally preferable to give your party a little bit of time to prepare for whatever lies ahead, whether it's just a long and grueling journey or a confrontation with a dangerous creature. So let's use our early examples from the Fellowship of the Ring and see if we can identify these elements in our quest givers. As an unknowing quest giver, Bilbo, that is the character, doesn't know that there is a quest, let alone a reward, so he does nothing to answer the question of why himself. We, however, do know. In his struggle to leave the ring behind, Gandalf's reaction to that, and Frodo's subsequent picking up of the ring, we know plenty. The ring had a hold on Bilbo. It worries Gandalf and seems to lash out at him when he attempts to pick it up, and it now belongs to Frodo. Gandalf is puzzled by this, and his reward, for leaving so quickly, is that he hopes to find answers for the questions burning in his mind. Frodo's quest in this moment is quite hard to define because as of yet he doesn't know that he's on one. But even if he doesn't know, we know that the ring will try to corrupt him. Avoiding that fate is the reward. So what's the goal? Again, we know, even if the characters don't, it is to stop the ring from getting back to Sauron. In Gandalf's case, as far as he knows, it is simply to find the answers to his questions, to either confirm or put to rest his fears. The obstacle in this case is that our characters don't yet know what's going on, while the forces of evil are continually moving against them all the time. If they did nothing, then the Witch King would show up one day at Frodo's door and ask to inspect his jewellery. Gandalf on his quest has the additional obstacle of the long journey to Minas Tirith. Things get a little more cut and dry when we look at Gandalf as the quest giver. He tells Frodo, and incidentally Sam, about all of the horrible things that will happen if the ring gets back to Sauron. Frodo's solution of hiding it won't work. Why? Because the Nazgul are coming to get it already. They know it's here, so he has to leave. The reward is there's less chance his head will get cut off, Gandalf will hopefully be able to help him in Bree, and there might even be some mushrooms on the way.
Mushrooms!
The goal here is very well defined by Gandalf himself: get to the prancing pony. The obstacle in this case is that Frodo and Sam are being hunted by agents of the Dark Lord disguised as riders in black, and they will have to stay off the roads, which will make their journey more difficult. The event of Frodo's stabbing also contains each of these elements. The reward for getting Frodo help is that he will not become a wraith. The goal is to get him to Rivendell so that the elves there can heal him, and the obstacle once again is that the Nazgul are hunting them. We can't be expected to just carry torches around with us all the time now, can we? Although this guy's torch didn't help him, so who's to say what the rules are. At the Council of Elrond, again we see all of these elements in action. The reward: Sauron doesn't consume the world in darkness, and Gandalf promises not to say bad words anymore. The goal is... I'll let Elrond explain this.
It must be taken deep into Mordor and cast back into the fiery chasm from whence it came.
And the obstacle, of course. Boromir, any thoughts on this?
One does not simply walk into Mordor.
There are, of course, more obstacles like Boromir's susceptibility to the ring's influence. Saruman of many colours! Flippin' Cthulhu, Pippin being a... Let's see, what else? It would probably be pretty bad if they had a cave troll.
They have a cave troll.
Oh, damn. Balrog. Rip Gandalf. The eagles don't respect anyone's time but this one moth, so we can't use those. Frodo is being slowly corrupted. Sam can't swim, hopefully that won't come up. Rip Boromir. Oh no, not Pippin. He's so valuable to our team. Oh no, but they're so fast though. I don't know if we can catch them.
Oh no! Anyway.
Using these three elements as blueprints for your own quest givers in your games will help you to hook your players into the narrative, keep them on track, and properly pay off their efforts.
Why?
Why always comes first. Adventurers are selfish creatures. What's in it for them? How will their efforts be rewarded? The earlier you establish this, the better you can prepare to pay off their efforts to complete the quest. However, to keep things interesting, you can always flip the script and surprise or subvert your players with a twist or a revelation of some kind, instead of or in addition to the expected reward for completing the quest. You can use this to then refocus their attention on the next task. Just don't do this every time, they will get wise to it eventually. Next, you need to clearly establish the goal. How will they determine their success? What kind of quest is it? For a breakdown of the different types of quests that there are, check out last week's video. There should be a little cardy thing up there. There you'll find lots of good examples of goals that you could give your party. Lastly, define the obstacles. Why can't someone else do it? What makes it dangerous? How long will it take? Do we need to prepare something? You don't have to answer all of those questions at the quest giver stage, but you should at least have a broad sense of the commitment of time or the level of threat that the quest will entail. There are actually enough of you watching these things now that I can't just assume that you're all people I know who play D&D. Maybe you're interested in writing for video games, or maybe you're writing a script. Maybe you're just hoping at some point I'll stop with all of this nerd stuff and get to talking about how to make beer in your garage. What I've talked about today is applicable to all but one of those scenarios. I plan to make some videos at some point talking about quest design in video games specifically, and writing dialogue and defining character archetypes and how they fit into different story patterns. For now, I am sticking with the tabletop homebrew stuff, but I have got plans to branch out as time goes on. Next time, I'm going back to talking about making maps, and we're going to take a much closer look at Wonder Draft, maybe Dungeon Draft as well, but we'll see how much I actually have to say about Wonder Draft first. I will catch you all then. Until next week, stay safe and happy adventuring. I'm a bit worried that I might have been shaking the camera a lot as I was moving around, but I didn't I didn't notice it too much. Hopefully I wasn't like, it wasn't like there was an earthquake happening.